I wrote Gundam 0080's script in 2 batches, the first 3 and the last 3, which means that I've now had a chance to hear a few of your thoughts on this whole thing. And so, with many newfound opinions on, well, everything, we plow ahead into part 4 with guards approaching Al's position, but luckily they're distracted.
So anyway, I set it up over the phone, and then I waited in that restaurant for 2 hours. She never even showed up. 2 hours, man. 2 hours. I'm telling you, it was hard on my self-confidence.
Just how confident were you that you can still grin when talking about how you were not only stood up, but were sad enough to wait around that long? Or were you just that confident in your coworker offering you pity sex?
You should use that self-confidence for better things.
I'm admittedly unfamiliar with gay porn, but if this is how each one started out, it would not surprise me. Their naked display of affection allows Al the chance to slip through and report what he saw to Bernie. Good news, which they can use after the bad news that was just announced. Not that guy's date thing, the news on the actual news shows. After the attack that caused so much damage, the locals asked the Duchy of Zeon for an apology, and they responded,
"Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder."
So in the face of that, all the Zeon ships were deported and they were told never to come back. The diplomatic equivalent of your ex dumping all your stuff out the second-story window. So Garcia makes contact with one of their sympathizers.
I'd like to order a bottle of flat beer.
What?
It's continuing this week's mini-theme, PBR. The bartender hooks him up with info on the likely warehouse while Bernie and Al race back with the pictures.
Hey, look!
I guess you had to be there. Well, at least they'll be happy to see these recon pictures.
You idiot!
That's a thank you in the Zeon military. If you earn a medal, they stab you in the groin with it.
Never pull a foolish stunt like that again.
The excuse, "Hey, the kid talked me into it," doesn't sound nearly as convincing as it did at the time. How many blows to the head will Bernie suffer because of Al, do you think? I may need to keep a running count here. But they make it back, only Al's asleep, and Bernie just can't help but think about that pussy next door. That was bad, and I should feel bad. He leaves Al with Chris to maintain cover, although obviously she thinks it's about his older brother and the family complications thing, not stealing a giant robot and family complications things. Al gets a taste of that at school when one of his friends sees him drawing a Zeon mobile suit and wonders why he's drawing a picture of the enemy, and Al's indignant. Why let a little thing like facts get in the way of his imaginative adventure, huh? And besides, really, anyone his age wearing that Oshkosh Bagosh shirt there obviously is past caring what other people have to say, even when his friends agree that Zeon are their enemies now.
Telcott, what do you think, huh? Well, the Zeon are stuck-up bad guys. My mom says so. Does your mom tell you everything?
Because I'm not sure how she could with all those dicks in her mouth last night. Al's convinced the Zeon mobile suit is the strongest of them all.
But the best one's the Gundam, right? What the heck is a Gundam?
I wondered the same thing. Luckily, the three gang up on Al, but shockingly, the little tattletale comes to his defense. So either she's a Zeon sympathizer, or her picking on him was just sexual tension. Meanwhile, Steiner meets up with the bartender, who confirms what Steiner had already figured, that they're just a decoy and are basically being abandoned. But even still, you can never shake his lunar pride. The moon shall rise again! And I don't mean in the astronomical sense, of course, because obviously that would happen anyway. With the materials and documents that Contact provides, they're ready to lay out the plan. Mikhail will use the suit to create a diversion, because if you want to get people's attention, stomping up the road in a gigantic robot is pretty likely to work. This will then allow Steiner, Garcia, and Bernie to sneak inside and either steal or destroy the Gundam. This will be tough. They're going to have to avoid any further complications.
Listen, I asked Chris if I could visit the base, and she said I could.
Oh, joy. Poor Bernie. Someone's going to kick your ass for this. And what's worse is the impossible situation he's in. Al is an idiot, so he won't listen, and Bernie knows that. But if he tells the others that Al might pull something, he knows that they're just going to kill the kid to avoid the headache, and he doesn't want that either. And he can't very well postpone it now. I mean, look, Mikhail's already prepping for the mission. If they don't attack on schedule, he might run out of booze and have to run this operation sober. Nobody wants that. Well, hold on to your butts. You are not going to believe what happens next. Al doesn't listen and goes anyway. Yeah, I know. This also in Pope remains Catholic, bears sighted defecating in the woods, and the papal bear renounces the Protestant bear's use of toilet paper. The head of the facility is in a heated interview.
Those are irresponsible rumors with no basis in reality.
I've heard your research involves mechanical arms, does it not?
Mm-hmm.
Then it should be easy to make a mechanical dick to go F yourself. Al shows up, drawing this painful interview to a close, meaning that for the first time in his life, someone is actually happy to see the little pain. But alas, this is when the plan is underway. Luckily, Steiner's still got the key, otherwise they wouldn't get their security deposit back on that warehouse. Meanwhile, our trio's cover has been blown, and if you think it's because Al has swiped the secret access badge of the old guy, nope. Although he has done that, this one is all down to Bernie. Something that he could screw up all by himself. He didn't need a sidekick to pull that one off. In this case, he decided to use an Australian accent to throw them off, because if he used his normal accent, that could tip people off that he's from the moon. I guess. By pretending he's Australian, he's made the mistake of forgetting that it's summer in Sydney right now. Luckily, Garcia is hidden so he can free them. Oops, sorry boss, got overexcited. Speaking of which, while trying to deal with the mobile suit stomping up the street, one of the rocket artillery forces is a little anxious and accidentally blows up the school. That's minus 1,500 points, and you're going to have to deal with the giant house cat now, buddy. Mikhail just keeps mopping the floor with these guys. Everything they throw at him doesn't work, not even other big robots. While the rest of Team Cyclops is, well, it's relative, I guess. I mean, they're losing, but they're also outnumbered by 3 to everything. So the fact that they're still fighting is hopeful. But stealing the Gundam right now, that's just a pipe dream. So they're going to have to try to blow it up while Chris is called in to take control of it and get it away, plus use it to stop Mikhail. Garcia is hit on the way, so he sets off the mine early, and right while Al is watching. So Mikhail moves in using his mobile suit to finish off the Gundam, but Chris escapes just in time. And as we've established, this Gundam clearly outmatches Mikhail's, but he does have something that Chris doesn't. The ridiculous confidence and certainty of invincibility that only a drunk can have. Also, he's got a single metric shitload of explosives that he pulls out of one of their strategically placed trucks. But all this does is knocks off some of the armor. In fact, that might not even be armor. It might have just taken out the equivalent of the bubble wrap from the original packaging. Yeah, well, suck this! Oh, that's the sword handle. Chris, of course, has her sword out as well and has been practicing. Okay, now, watch her technique carefully here. Touché. Well, Mikhail is very, very, very dead. Steiner is mortally wounded. Bernie is fine because the bullets were spinning in the wrong way, due to the Coriolis effect from Australia. And as part of their escape, Garcia had planted a bomb earlier that now detonates and opens up a hole in the colony wall, which is not a good thing when you're in space, leading us into Part 5. Episode 4 is obviously when everything goes tits up, and it's about the build-up to that moment. Most everyone gets a little bit of a chance for a character moment. Steiner reflecting on the situation that's before him. I mean, there's this unstated conflict that he has between being a soldier following orders and a commander responsible for those who follow his orders. The relationship developing between Bernie and Chris that we know can't go anywhere because of their loyalties. Even Garcia, who despite punching Bernie because he's so pissed off at the mistake that he made, takes the time to tell Bernie that he needs to be careful and not get himself killed. Covered with the idea that he likes having someone around that he outranks, but showing that he really does want to make sure that the rookie comes through this alive. When the confrontation does come, it is brutal. The firefight in the warehouse is bloody, and the deaths are unpleasant to see. And when the Gundam opens up on Mikhail, it is a loud, ugly sight. And most of this is witnessed by Al, who is now really seeing the brutality of war, something that earlier he had run past without a care, remember? We'll see how Bernie and Al handle this as well in the aftermath of the battle in 2 weeks.